Hey, good morning, friends. Today, my friends, is Friday, January the 30th, 2026, and the time now is 7:43 a.m. So, friends, I want to talk about the United States, and I want to talk specifically about something that happened recently, within a week ago, and I'm talking in this case specifically about the murder of Alex Pretti in the United States, in Minnesota, and some of the implications. Now, friends, I apologize if I am appearing to look somehow uneasy. It is very cold. My feet are frozen. My toes are frozen. It is very cold. It is supposed to be at least negative 17 degrees. So, friends, recently, about a week now, we all saw a very graphic, gruesome video which came out of Minnesota. The brutal murder, the execution of a young man about 37 years or so by the name of Alex Pretti. Now, friends, this is about 2 to 3 weeks after we saw the brutal murder, heartless murder of Renee Good in Minneapolis, in the same Minnesota. Now, as videos show, or the video which again was recorded by a bystander show, ICE officials were roughing a woman, and Alex Pretti went there to basically protect the woman, defend the woman. The ICE officials were basically pushing the woman to the ground and roughing her. Mr. Pretti went between one of the officials, and the woman trying to protect her. Alex Pretti had a gun, which were basically the gun was in the holster. The gun was protected, locked, and in Minnesota, it is his Second Amendment right. Minnesota is a right to carry state. Once again, friends, Minnesota has a right to carry law, which means that a person legally can carry firearm as long as the firearm is protected, is locked in a holster, and it is not being just used and waved here and there. Okay, it's not being used to threaten anybody. So Alex Pretti had the gun. Okay, he was armed, but from what the Trump administration said, and I remember when I got the news on Saturday, I was at home, and they were saying that ICE official killed one man in Minnesota, and this guy was basically carrying a gun and threatening to shoot to murder ICE official. That was the original statement that I got that came from the Trump administration. But as more videos came out, as organizations, in fact, one newspaper did review the clips from the video and concluded that Alex Pretti was not even resisting, let alone being aggressive toward the ICE official, which the video shows. Now, when Mr. Pretti was trying to protect the lady, the ICE official sprayed Mr. Pretti in the face and the lady, okay, and I believe this, what is it, pepper spray. They know that he had a gun on him, and they wrestled him to the ground. And one of the video that I watched, which was very much clear, it shows that one of the ICE officials went to Mr. Pretti as the rest of them were on top of him, roughing him to the ground. And this guy basically disarmed Alex Pretti, taking his gun away. And at some point, from what it seems, it is as if this guy held the gun, and as he was walking away from Mr. Pretti and the other guys, the officials who were basically on top of him, it appears to me that he triggered the firearm, the gun, like he shot the gun or something like that. But Mr. Pretti was already on the ground, and this is something that I've said many times. The police, they are very much brutal. They are using unnecessary forces. Okay, it takes just one or two person to rough up, okay, or to disarm, okay, or to let's say stabilize somebody who is not being cooperative. At some point, you have to stop roughing the citizen, because now it shows that once this gun went off, the ICE officials basically back off from Mr. Pretti, who was on the ground, and one of the officials shot 4 times. Bow, 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 4 times, shooting Mr. Pretti. Now, when you look at the video, Mr. Pretti wasn't moving. He was silent. He was calm on the ground. He had basically died because that full shot, okay, from a very much a close distance, I don't know what part of him was hit, but he wasn't moving. So one shot alone, I believe, could have settled him down, okay, made the difference. But all 4 shots together, Mr. Pretti wasn't moving. In addition, 6 more shots came from a nice official. I don't remember, or I cannot recall by watching the video if it was the same official that shot him 10 times. But Alex Pretti was shot 10 times. 1 shot is enough. 2 is way enough. 3 is outrageously enough. 4 shot, you've killed them. Even if he is still moving. You shot a man 4 times who is on the ground, laying on his back on the ground. You do not need to unload another 6 shots. So this was a brutal murder of Alex Pretti. Now, I've said many times to friends, families, and people who I converse with, many of us, especially black people, people of color, we wake up every morning going to work. There are white people out there who believe that there is a war going on in the white world and white people are the victims and that blacks and other minorities are the enemies. There are white people who are waking up in the morning thinking that they are at war, so they have to kill a black person or a person of color because they are doing their job as a race soldier. I think it is also the case for white liberals and whites, whether we are talking about Antifa, white communists, and so on, and whites who do not subscribe to the white supremacist ideology. When you hear some MAGAs and Republican supporters and members of the far right speak, okay, when they speak of black people or minority and even white liberals, it is as if there is a civil war already going on and these guys are ready to kill. On social media, there are lots of videos of Trump supporters, members of the far right, many of them who are talking about they are going to support and defend and protect Donald Trump at all costs, to whatever degree that they are ready for a civil war and that all Donald Trump should do is basically call the shot, basically give them the order, and they are going around and murder white liberals, blacks, Haitians, Latino, Native Americans, and gay, straight, and other minority groups. Now, it is very interesting as a person from Liberia who hail from both Liberia and Sierra Leone, 2 countries, okay, and West Africa, a region which has been decimated, okay, traumatized by endless or continuous civil war or civil wars. When I hear Americans, especially white Americans or any American, even women talking about they want civil war, I kind of laugh and I'm like, God help these people. Now, friends, the United States had a civil war, 1861 to 1865. I do not call that a civil war as much and as long as that civil war was brutal. And it was the most brutal civil war of its time. And it was the most modern civil war where even the use of machine guns started during the American Civil War. Lots of the military technologies and modern technology that we hail for granted today started in the Civil War. It was even during the Civil War in the United States that they came to accept the fact that germs was a real thing in killing people, because lots of the deaths that happened during the American Civil War happened as a result of germs, where the medical practice were not as standardized as it is, and people were doing whatever. They were using bone saw to amputate whatever body parts, and also they were using the same dirty rags that they use on operating one soldier to another soldier, which basically led to the spread of germs. However, as much as the American Civil War was brutal, compared to what is happening today in today's world, civil wars in today's world, the brutality of man against or toward another man. When I hear Americans talking about their wanting for civil war, I'm like, these guys are stupid. It is not like the romanticized civil war of the 1860s, 1861 to 1865. Today we are using M16, AK-47. We are using dangerous weapons. We are using missiles, sophisticated, dangerous missiles. In addition, we are using nuclear bombs. The United States was the only country to have used nuclear bomb before, which were used on Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The United States is the number 2 in terms of the most nuclear bombs. It is said that Russia has about 6,000 or so nuclear bombs, and the United States about 5,000. It doesn't necessarily mean that one side or both sides will have access to the nuclear bomb should there be a civil war in America. However, if there is a civil war in America today, all these idiots who are calling for the civil war, all these idiots who are talking about Donald Trump should call the shots so they can go around and start killing, they don't realize that when that war started, they are going to be victims as much as they think they can victimize other people, because your enemies in this case will have the same firepower or possibility or likelihood of destroying your lives as much as you would have the same power or possibility of destroying their lives. So it is interesting. However, I do believe, friends, that there is currently a civil war going on in the United States. However, the current civil war in the United States is much of a cold war. It is not a hot war. Yes, we are seeing lots of assassinations and murder, brutal murder going on in the United States. However, for the most part, the civil war in the United States is mostly ideological, verbal, rhetoric. It hasn't become a full-blown civil war, and I hope it doesn't result into that. Now, friends, I apologize for deviating, but back to Alex Pretti. When he was shot, and once again, Alex Pretti was shot, murdered, killed, by being shot 10 times. As I said earlier, friends, one shot is enough to take a man down. 2 shots is way enough. 3 shots is outrageously enough. 4, you've killed them. As we saw in the video, Alex Pretti wasn't moving after the first 4 shot. Why unloading 6 more bullets into this man? When he was murdered, the Trump administration issued a statement that he basically was is a domestic terrorist attempting to murder ICE officials, which the video basically speak to the truth. He was not resisting, he was not fighting them, he was only trying to protect a woman who was being roughed up. He was sprayed in the face, as the lady was, with pepper spray, and a bunch of officials jumped on him to restrain him. His gun had already been taken away from him. He was on the ground, laying on his back. He was shot 4 times and then shot 6 times again. Now, they've been saying that he was a domestic terrorist. It is said now, as the truth had been coming out, other than just a driving ticket violation, that he hasn't been in trouble. He was a good guy. He was a nurse working in the veteran hospital. Basically, he was an ICU nurse. There is a video which came out which showed Alex Pretti reading a statement, okay, for a dead veteran. I guess his family was in there, or he was asked to read the obituary or whatsoever. So he was reading a statement, okay, for a dead veteran, which basically it was an emotional. It is an emotional video, and it painted him in a positive light. And now we are seeing the Trump administration freaking out. As much as they've come out hard trying to demonize Alex Pretti, videos, photos, and stories about him are saying the contradiction. Yeah. So in this case, the Trump administration is being contradicted. Now, we've had lots of murdering by ICE officials of people in the United States, blacks, Latino, and so on. A lot of brutal murder and arrest. However, friends, the murder of two white people, one a woman and the other a man. We are talking in this case, Renee Good on the 3rd of January this year, 2026, and also the murder of Alex Pretti, leading to lots of protests throughout the United States. Even today, there are supposed to be mass protests and walkouts throughout the United States. I don't think this is enough to bring Donald Trump down, and I don't know where this is going. But as I've said before, the United States is evenly divided. As much as 50% of the United States, the populace, are pissed. The other 50 are enjoying it. There are people, even pundits, who are saying that they do not feel sad for Alex Pretti, that he deserved what he got. This is very much, it's bad. It is a sad and dangerous thing. We are seeing the United States possibly is collapsing. The United States may not collapse tomorrow. It could be another 100 years before the United States collapse. But what we are seeing coming out of the United States, it is much, very, very, very concerning. It is bad. Now, friends, please tell me what you think, and I really want to know what you think. However, friends, I'm going to end here. I want to thank you for being a member of the Echoing Voice community, my friends, but most especially and most importantly, all most important friends, I want to thank you a lot for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace, my friends. Peace.